Next up, the Arizona Cardinals. That is our next team to take a look at. Who would have thought that Arizona would be picking third? I still can't believe that. You sure this is right? Arizona's picking third.
They were 4-13.
I know, it is just so weird. That's because they lost like so many games. Like, did they end their season like on like losing like 11 out of 12 or something like that?
Yeah, I mean the wheels completely fell off towards the end of the year for that team.
It's just hard to believe.
Every time I watch them, I was saying Cliff Kingsbury wants to walk out of the stadium. He looked like he wanted nothing to do with them.
So another team with a new head coach and offensive coordinator. We'll see if Vance Joseph, I can see him staying, depending on who the head coach is. But now they have a new general manager. So we have no idea where Austin Fort's going to go. You know, all those years in New England, spent a few years in Tennessee. A lot of rumors about, will Hopkins even be there? But one thing I did notice is that, let's say everybody returns skill position wise, they're set on their skill position. They don't need receivers. They don't need a tight end. They don't need running backs. They don't need a quarterback. So at least they go into this draft in a situation where, you know what? All right, we got to fix a little bit of our offensive line in the interior. You know, Hudson, I don't even know if he's going to be back. He's probably going to retire. So we need a center. We have to re-sign or get new guards because Hernandez, Pugh, and Garcia are all free agents. But then that's it. Then you look on defense, and that's really where Arizona is going to spend most of their time upgrading besides the offensive line, especially up front with J.J. Watt retiring. And, of course, Zach Allen is also a free agent.
Yeah, I mean, it's defense for this team. They allowed the second most points in the NFL. Their top two corners are free agents on a cornerback group that was not very good. They lose J.J. Watt to retirement. You would have to find three players on that team to combine all of their sacks. That equals what J.J. Watt did in 2022. They had nothing behind him. A couple of younger pieces that are worth kind of keeping an eye on. Cameron Thomas, Myjai Sanders, both drafted last year. But those are the kind of guys, whenever I go into the team meet process, I just say, hey, am I going to make my plans around these guys or not? I'm not making draft-related decisions based on Myjai Sanders and Cameron Thomas.
Those are third-rounders. Those are not third-round pick of the draft kind of guys.
Right. And, you know, it's not like they were flashing all year, right? So I think that you can flip a coin. What's a bigger need, corner or the pass
rusher? Yeah,
the defensive line. Yeah, and I mean it could be defensive line too if you find an interior.
Well, hey, how about this? As the third pick, if Chicago, let's say they trade the, let's say two things. One, they trade the pick. All right, quarterback. We can now go with we got Will Anderson here. Perfect.
Right.
Fits perfect.
Yeah.
Let's say they don't. Let's say they go Carter. We still get Anderson. So there's a great chance that Anderson could be on the board when they go, and that would be perfect for them.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very similar to debate when we talked about Chicago. Do they go inside, outside? To me, I don't think it matters. You know, I look at the depth chart right now.
How about the defense that they run? Considering it's a 3-4, do you think Carter better suited for either scheme, or he's so good it would matter?
Good question. I think he could play defensive end in a 3-4 and be fine. I wouldn't want to put him over center unless you're looking at specific pass rush packages. I think he's got the athleticism too, maybe a little oversized out there. But these defensive coordinators now, I don't think it matters that much to them, especially in this kind of scheme. You bring a talent like Jalen Carter to the team, and then you figure it out. You don't shut the door on a talent like that. You know, if I was a betting man, Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, I'd put a lot of money on one of these guys.
Oh, they'll get one of the two
for sure. And that's why I think the basement, if Chicago stays put, the basement for those two guys, the top two players in the draft, Will Anderson and Jalen Carter, is 3. I don't think either one of them escapes the top 3 unless there's a lot of quarterback movement at the top.
And again, we'll see what happens with Indianapolis if in fact they do trade up. By the way, on the offensive line, DJ Humphries will be coming back from injury, but Josh Jones, that's another player that really stepped up and played well when Humphries went down, because Jones wasn't doing much until he needed to play. And apparently, maybe part of the problem was he seems to be more comfortable at left tackle And now what do you
That's
do with
exactly
that
right.
when DJ Humphries comes back?
That's exactly right. And that's the thing. I've talked to a couple of offensive line coaches where they've had a really hard time trying to develop a rookie on the opposite side of the line of where they're most comfortable or where they had the most experience in college. And it's like the illustration he gave me. It's like wiping your ass with the other hand that you normally use. It just doesn't feel right, and some of these guys cannot get past that. What do you do?
Do you trade Humphries?
Do you trade Humphries? I don't think you trade an offensive line talent like that. I think you give him one more go at right tackle, Jones. I think Humphries is too good to move him around, trade him, and that team needs offensive line help.
Yeah.
If you're going to trade your best offensive lineman, I think it sends a bad message, and it's not going to create more wins for them. You can't really base decisions off of Josh Jones. All right, he played okay. He didn't play great. Let's not really adjust too much for him.
Yeah, you're right. Give him another year. And Beachum, one of the more underrated, solid veteran tackles that just seems to go from team to team every 2 years. I just don't understand. But I get it. I know, but he's just always been solid. So maybe they bring him back.
Good guy to have in the locker room for sure.
They do have to re-sign both of their specialists, so keep that in mind. And do you think Murphy is worth re-signing? Byron Murphy, you disappointed with his career?
It's funny. I mean, I loved him coming out. He was my top-rated corner in 2019. He's played back and forth outside slot. I think he needs to stay in the slot. I think that's where he's best. What does the defensive coach, what does the head coach want to do? Do they want to change this defense at all? He's not a big guy. He's not long. He's not tall. And I even think his top speed is a little limited. So, you're talking about a corner that's not very big. He's not very fast and hasn't made a ton of plays on the ball. I think they're going to let him walk, but that only strengthens the notion that they're going to have to go corner early on, probably at the top of round 2.
Marco Wilson, I mean, he still has some potential to develop. So, we'll keep an eye on him. And Isaiah Simmons, you just don't even know. I don't even think he has a position.
He doesn't. Our lads, we haven't listed as their nickel. That's where he lines up the most.
Yes.
But it's not a true nickel. But it's this is what you get when you draft a player like that. And Arizona does not have the best reputation at putting guys in the best spot according to their skill set. Example: Hassan Reddick, right? I mean, they moved him around edge, off ball, inside. Mike, Sam, Will. Goes to Philly and becomes a near all-pro. We just want you to rush the passer, bro. That's it.
Right, exactly. Just put your hand down and go.
That's it.